Hey everybody, with today's project, we are going to do something cool that will extend the use time for your shop or garage if it happens to have a paneled garage door. And it's a simple, more time than money project that you can get done over the course of just one day. It's installing this rigid foam insulation that you can dress up in any way that you want to, and whether or not you use the foil that we have here behind me with some aluminum tape, or you just use the plain white version of this foam, you can increase the R value in the garage, but overall in this door between 8 and 10. And that can make the difference in a climate that has milder days during the early parts of the summer, or maybe even milder days during the winter parts of the year. So extending your garage or shop so it's got larger seasonal use is probably something a lot of people would be interested in doing. So we're going to travel back in time right now to the beginning of this project, and we'll get into it more for you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus in on insulating a standard garage door. Now, most of these are similar, but you're going to have to do some measurements because, well, these are kind of bespoke things that you're doing, which means that they need an exact measurement for each one of these panels so that you can feel like, well, it'll stay in there for a while. We're gonna use some other things like some aluminum tape, which you can find similar, Gorilla tape people have used for things like this, to make sure that nothing moves and to kind of dress up the appearance when we're done. But we're going to install reflected foam insulation, rigid insulation, in these crevices. And we're gonna kind of force it into place, which is gonna A, give us a higher insulation value, but B, make it so that they don't fall out. So let's get started on this project. Let's build it. All right, real quick, we'll revisit some tools that we're going to utilize for this project. First, this is a heavy-duty hot knife that I picked up at an inexpensive local hardware store called Harbor Freight. And of course, a lot of that stuff comes from, a foreign country that I would prefer not to indulge. But in this case, it's probably the best option for most people, and it isn't terribly expensive. It works on regular current. It is not anything fancy, and well, it's got some easy dials here. But this easily will cut dimensionally the foam and give you a little bit of control. Don't touch this, it will be hot. Also, you're gonna want a straight edge. Now, of course, I'm using a straight edge I got from another local hardware store, Ace. This is a 4-foot length of ruler here, or yardstick, or slightly larger than a yard in this case. At 48 inches, this is gonna be my best friend for this project. I always have a square with me, almost always. I love these Empire squares, they're excellent. I love the blue aluminum. I guess I'm just partial to goofy stuff like that. And then of course I have a Sharpie marker that'll mark the back of the foam. And finally, our trusty tape measure. And as we were talking earlier, this is 50.5 inches, 50.5 inches right there. I went ahead, marked my line, 50.5 inches, ran my line down the side here, and that's where we ended up with 50.5 inches, at least marked here on the board. We also had to mark this at 20.5 inches. So again, dimensionally, 20.5 inches, right like that, 20.5 inch line all the way down. This is going to be for 4 of my boards on my longest side of my panel. And it'll make this really wedge in there nice and tight. There will be a slight bit of play, probably about, 1/8 of an inch or so. But I'm also gonna make some beveled cuts on the foam so that I can actually wedge it in there a little easier, and I'll show you that as well. We're also going to utilize the other length of board on this side, which we'll get to in a second, that will be the shorter versions of the panels for the centerpieces, and we'll take a look at that shortly. But let's go ahead and get working on this. So I got my hot knife here. I'm dialing it up to, let's set it at the 3 setting. I'm gonna pull the trigger and the little red light will come on. We're gonna go ahead and engage with this, and I'm gonna get it on film so you can watch. One more handy piece of equipment to have if you're working in an indoors location that's not well ventilated is a respirator. Let me tell you, you do not want to be breathing in this, this foam, because it's not good for you. Okay, now we're back to panel installation. Only doing this a little bit at a time. Try to give myself a break from the vapors of the foam. Let's get started. Go ahead and fit I think this edge first. Piece up in here. Gonna take some wedging. There we go. Look at that. Just like downtown. Now we get tough. We got a few bolts in the way there. Yeah. All right. Fighting across these screws. Yuck. And need a screwdriver. This is the tricky side. Cut our bevel. That's what I forgot. Let's take more panel done. Several more to go. All right, now we've got one more tape for this set of panels. And then after that, 9 more to go. Excuse me, 12 more to go. Goodness. All right, we'll get there. We'll get it done. Got the aluminum tape right here. It's gonna be a little trickier. Stuff down there. Cut it early. Try to avoid some problems. Well, there we go. Look at that. All right. Have a little bit of extra, but that's okay. Beautiful. All right, so now we're about halfway done, and as you can see, the panels here, they look pretty good. Now, I could leave them like this, and I may for a little while, but I have a plan. I'm gonna cover this all up because I'm gonna make this another background so that I can have some more space in case I need to do something bigger, a bigger video project or something like that. So when you look at this, looks pretty good. Now, there are a couple of other techniques you can use to cut these panels. Obviously, I used a hot knife in the demonstration, but you can also use a jigsaw. It just makes a lot of little white dust, right? And that powdery stuff you don't want to breathe in. You want to wear eye protection and all of that if you're going to use a saw of any kind on this material. Again, try not to breathe this. Do any of the cutting of any kind in a well-ventilated area. And if you can, be sure to wear that respirator mask that I was wearing. Anyway, we have 2 more sets of panels to go. I already keyed one in, but for the most part, we still have some work to do. Let's get to it. Whew. 3/4 of the way done, plus an extra. One more to go. And that wraps up this amazing garage project. Doesn't take a lot of money. If you have more time than money, this is the way to go about insulating your garage door panels. If you have more money than time, you might pre-purchase some of the panels that are already insulated, but having an insulated garage can have a lot of benefits. Right now, we're ready for the next season, whatever that happens to be. Also, this isn't the end of this project for me, and I'll probably make another video on how to seal this up so that it looks like just another wall, with the exception obviously of any support braces and things like that that you have. I'm also going to be delivering more inside and outside as far as remodeling goes, and I'll even do a complete shop in a different garage bay. We've also got 2 or 3, I think, greenhouse projects coming up in the near future, and we're going to be doing some raised bed gardens and a freestanding pergola. So it should be good times. And it doesn't matter if you're inside or outside, just build it. Thanks for checking out this episode of Cultured Builds. Let's build it.